I have to do is get some software. The software that I recommend is going to be PNETLab. You probably heard of GNS3. You've heard of EVE-NG. Now you're going to hear about PNETLab, which is pretty much EVE-NG, but more free than the free version of EVE-NG with all the features of the fully paid version. So yeah, it's free. It's free. So you're going to want to be able to use it. And we are going to install this on bare metal so you can do even more and get the full power of your computer on it. They have these instructions here. It's actually kind of easy. So the first thing they say to do is that you're going to want to be able to download this Ubuntu 18.04. Now, last I checked, we were on Ubuntu like 25. So this is a really old one. I'm just going to go ahead and download the server image. It shouldn't take that long to download. While that's downloading, I'm going to go ahead and put it into Balena Etcher when it's finished downloading. As I said, it's only going to take a second. And I'm only doing this because I think that's going to be a good thing to be able to show how this works and how you can make a lab almost for free, less than $100. So there it is. I'm going to open up Balena Etcher now. Oh, where are you? There it is. That's it. So yeah, I'll burn Fedora recently too, but I'm gonna go ahead and cancel that. I'm going to flash from file. The Ubuntu one came up, and boom, there it is. I'm gonna stick my USB drive, wherever that may be, into my machine. And I'm gonna wait for that to show up, and boom, there it is. See, right there, it actually says it. And I'm gonna hit flash. There it goes. Come on, let's go. Balena, go. You say you started, go ahead and start. Come on, it's like you fire the weapon and the race hasn't even started. Anyway, it's gonna go at some point. All I'm gonna do now is wait it out. I'm gonna pause the video, and once that is all done, I'll see you in the next video, that segment of this, and see you then. My bad. Yo, there's a lot of shaking going on with the camera because it's kind of just hanging there. Let me see if I can fix that. Ah! Why is the camera in my face? Alright, so that works a little bit better. A lot of people ask me how exactly do they lab, and I'm going to say that this is exactly how. Here I have a machine that I spent about $30. It was really about 22 bucks, but you got to add in shipping and handling because it came from eBay. And I have a hard drive that I'm putting in it, and also some RAM. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this. This is the Dell Wise Thin Client 5060. Crack this baby open. I think this is how I crack it open. Please let it be how I crack it open. Open! Open sesame. Maybe I gotta use some magic words or something. Okay. Having little technical difficulties, but you know what? It's gonna open at some point because these things are made to open. And voila. Opened it up! Oh man, it's got the CAC reader on top of it, so I'm gonna have to do a little extra work in order to put some better RAM in this thing. So what do I have to do to be able to make that happen? I'm trying to look over at it to make sure that I can go ahead and displace this CAC card reader, which I would like on the most part, but I don't right now. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew where I think you can unscrew and try to do as few screws as possible. And oh man, I almost lost my other screw. So I'm going to go ahead and put it over to the side. Oh man. Can you tell I actually enjoy this type of stuff? And then here's this screw. Take that one off too. And voila. It pops right off. Just those two screws. And ooh, look at that. It's got, it got some RAM in it. I don't know how much, but I'm about to replace it And because this is going to be a cheap lab machine, I get the chance to be able to add mad RAM into it. So these are each 4 GB RAM modules. Now I'm going to put this to the side because after I'm done with these, I usually either put them in other devices that I don't need as much RAM, or I sell them, and that way this becomes even cheaper. So this, each one of these can go for like $2.50, so I can make about $5, and this whole $30 machine, look at that, I just paid for the shipping and handling. Alright, so anyway, after that, taking these 32 gig RAM modules, well, not 32 gig, they're 16 gigs a piece, but let me just throw that in. Bottom one first. You know, I really probably should be a little bit more careful doing this, but it's gonna be alright. Stick my RAM in. I usually try to make it go all the way in, you know, get kind of all the way in so that it works. And then after that, I'm gonna put back this, I believe it's a speaker. And then, was it this way? Yeah, I believe it was this way. And where did I put those screws now? I probably don't even need both of them because I'm about to lose one. Almost dropped that one like it's hot. Snoop Dogg, like 2004-ish. Back when I graduated high school. Alright, I lost the screw. Oh, no, I didn't. It's right here on the on the screwdriver. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and screw that back in. Then I'm going to screw this one back in. And voila, our RAM is all installed. How you like that? After that, just going to go ahead and install a hard drive. So here I have a 512 gigabyte, something like that. It's a M2 drive. Just going to take it. Stick it right in. And oh man, looks like I don't have one of those screw thingies for it. So what I'm gonna do is, usually that's not that big a deal, but I'm gonna try to see if I have other screws that can fit into in there. And I'm not really sure that I do, but I always have a couple of screws on me because after a while of doing this, you get a tremendous screw. Oh, damn it, I dropped it. You have like a tremendous screw collection. And I'm also not trying to be perfect with this to show like it's okay to fumble through. I know sometimes when you see a perfect tutorial, it can make you nervous. Well, it makes me nervous. I don't know about nobody else, but it makes me nervous to think like, oh man, I'm never gonna get it. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Okay, that doesn't fit. Let me try from another computer piece. Because that's what I do. Just keep, you know, reworking stuff. I'm gonna take this one off. If it fits, then wonderful. If not, then it's probably not even that big a deal, especially for our purposes. Would you look at that? It actually fits. And there we go. So I've got the RAM in, I've got the hard drive in, and this is 32 gigs of RAM. This is 512 gigabytes of hard drive space, and this is a $30 machine that we are going to use for a basic first home lab. I'm putting this all together because a lot of people I know, they talk to me and they say they want a home lab, but they think they have to spend thousands of dollars to get it going, and that's just not true. And then also they don't really want to use it on their own computers because you're not going to get the best performance out of this. We are making a dedicated machine out of this thing. I'm putting it all back together, and voila, here we go. After this, I'm going to take a little bit of time to be able to install our lab software onto this, and I think that this is going to be a beautiful thing. Yeah, it really is. So, stick with me. All right, now I've built the machine. You saw me put it together, put the RAM, put the hard drive space in. I'm gonna turn it on now as it is connected to the network. I've got the USB that I've made inside of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and power it on. With that, I'm gonna hit F2 or F12. I'm not even sure which one it is. And there we go. The video should be starting soon. There we go. See, the amount of memory has changed. I'm gonna go ahead and hit F2 now. Oh. And look at this. Very cool. It's got this whole thing. So I'm gonna have to change the boot sequence. Let me make sure that there is some virtualization support. So my mouse is kind of whack right now because I'm using a cheap one. So okay, so virtualization is there. I'm gonna apply that. Just making sure I'm turning on the virtualization. Save as user settings. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. What else? So secure boot. I'm not sure. But what I will look at is the system information. Now look at that. 32 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs in each one of the places. And I'm not exactly sure where the hard drive stuff shows up, but there's a hard drive in it. So with that, I'm going to look at the different boot options, and let me just add one here. I mean, it's not like I do this that much, so I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. USB configuration. There it is. Gotta enable USB boot. I'm gonna go ahead and apply that. And sure. Let me see what happens if I do that. Feels like it's the same thing. So now if I go back to the boot sequence, I'm gonna add a boot option. Let me see what happens if I unplug the USB drive and plug it back in. Alright, if this doesn't work, we're just going to have to try this again. I'm hoping that where it says the UEFI hard drive, I'm hoping that that is one of the options, but I'm not exactly sure. So I'm just going to put that one up front and then come back to this if need be. So go ahead and apply. Exit, and let's see what happens. Wait, I think if I do F12, does that give me the one-time boot menu? Yep, there we go, one-time boot menu. And with this, now I know exactly what to do. I'm going to go through this one. And there we go. Install Ubuntu server. Alright, so I do speak English. I'm going to continue without updating. That looks good to me. I already have an IP address, so I'm going to make sure I copy that one down. Proxy address, I don't have one. That's good to go. And then it's going to say use entire disk. Looks like I accidentally got a 2 terabyte drive, which is still okay, I guess. And then here, this was on the screen there, and it's saying to change one of these under device. I'm following the directions that are there, where it says root. Under use devices, and then I'm gonna edit. And then I have to give it everything. I give it all to you. And I'm going to continue, and then my name is going to be lab user. My server's name is going to be labdame. My username is going to be lab user. My password is going to be extra secret. Mad characters long. And then Yep. I'm going to install OpenSSH server. And I don't think I'm going to do any of this stuff right here, which is I mean, it's cool stuff, but I don't need it right now. And there we go. And now we wait. This part might take a little bit of a while, so I'm going to pause the video, and then after that I'm going to log into the server itself when it reboots, and from there I'm going to kind of start calling it a day. Alright, now I'm back to building a lab. I'm going to go ahead and log into lab name. I believe that it was lab user, and my password was secrets or something like that. Either secret or password, whoever cares. Okay, lab user. Alright, there we go. Alright, from there, I'm going to have to make sure that I can log in as sudo, so sudo I, and then my password again. If I can remember any of this, that'll be great. And now I'm signed in as the root user. I'm going to go ahead and set the password for the root user so that they can log in as themselves. Retype it to make sure that it's confirmed. And then I'm going to allow the root user to be able to SSH. And for that, let me go ahead and do vim /etc ssh sshd config, and let's see, and it's going to be permit. There we go. So right there. And then I'm going to go into insert mode by pressing I, delete that, and permit root login. Ooh. And I'm going to just change that to yes. Escape, permit root login. Next, so those are linked to places, which means that it's good to go. So I'm going to go ahead, write and quit, press enter, and there I am. After this, let me just see, I can go ahead and delete the user that I had created. So I'm going to do a user del and lab user. Oh yeah, let me do that too. And now I'm going to log in as root to make sure. And now I'm logged in as root. Now I can delete the user that I created. User del lab user cat/etc passwd, and that user is gone. At this point, I'm going to have to add a repository. So I'm gonna go into, let me see, vim /etc/sources, etc/apt/sources.list. With that, I'm gonna jump down to the bottom. I'm gonna hit O to open up a line, and with that, I'm gonna do Debian, and I'm gonna say that this is truster. And then these are all in the instructions already. repo.pnetlab.com /. And with that, I'm going to right quit, and I'm going to make sure I can ping. Yep, I can get out to the internet. And I'm going to do an apt get update just to be able to reload that one. Sorry, I have to follow this. Name server into /etc/resolve.conf apt get update. I'm just going to try to install it anyway. Apt-get install PNETLab-y. Oh yeah, this is taking a lot longer than last time. Well, we'll see what happens. Well, it says it's got 2 hours left to go. That's too long. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and we'll... All right, now everything has been installed. So if I go back into apt-get install PNETLab-y, it took me like an hour, by the way. But see, there it is. It is there. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot. Ooh, look at that new logo popping up. And look at that. So now that's all we got to do is head over to that website. I'm going to pause this video, switch over to my other machine, and keep this thing going. But that's it right there. So this is where I was getting all my instructions from. You can follow it yourself. It feels like it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's just a couple of simple steps. So from here, I'm just going to go to that site. HTTP. $10.50, $126.71. And there we go, PNETLabs. I like to choose the offline mode. is turned on successfully. Default account to log in is admin PNET. And the reason why I like offline mode is, I don't know, I just don't feel like I need an online account for this. And there we go. So see, from here, we can start running a couple of labs. So the first thing I'm going to do is just start a brand new lab, which I believe you just hit this right here, add a new lab. And this one is going to be the first test. And then I'm just going to add it to make it easy. And there we go. It opens up a lab. This is kind of dope. Then I'm going to go ahead and add an object. And you're going to see like, this is kind of, this is where it gets kind of whack because, we ain't got no type of anything really. All it is docker.io, and then I guess you can put like Docker images into it. But besides that, there's really nothing else. So what I'm going to do next is talk about how we can add a couple images to get this thing going. Alright, let's get some images in this. I hope that I can make this pretty easy. So this is the IP address. I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. In order to do this, you're going to need to be able to have a Cisco account to be able to sign in and download some stuff. And then after that, you want to have WinSCP, which is for free. I'm going to open up WinSCP right now. I'm going to choose secure copy. The host name is going to be that IP address. It's going to be the root. Put in the password. Log in. Accept. Come on, work. Please work. Let's see. So I don't know why that didn't work, but let me go ahead and try again. Well, then I guess I'll try this one more time. I restarted my machine, and here we go. I'm going to copy it over, and there, it's working. So pretty much what I did is like I just downloaded it from Software Center. It went into my downloads folder. So let me open that up really quickly. It saved itself as this zip file. I unzipped it, opened it up, right-clicked on the ISO file, opened with Windows Explorer, moved it, renamed it, yada, 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 all that good stuff. So let me go back over here. I'm going to go over here, and there it is inside of my folder. Now I'm going to go back over to PortX. And this is what I use to SSH. You can use anything else that you use to SSH. I just like this because it lets me like do all my lab stuff and put it all here. So with this, I'm just going to SSH, // there it is. Go there, I'm going to type in the password. Of course, if you want, you can set up certificates for yourself. And then with that, I am going to go to a certain website. Like I said, you can do most anything and just look at EVNG's documentation. So I'm going to go to EVNG, and as that's loading up, I'm going to be over here with this, just waiting for EVNG to load up. Thank you. Documentation, how to create images. I'm going down to IOL, and this is the command that we're going to need to run, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that because that's going to make it easier. And I'm going to paste it. Fix permissions, let it run. It looks like it finished. Do it one more time. I'll just do that. I don't know why. Then I'm going to go back to PNETLabs, and I'm going to add an object. Nodes, and nothing has changed. Let me refresh. Add object, nodes, and now look. I refresh, Cisco IOL, and there it is. Now I really hope this works. Like I really do. Because I'm going to hit start. One other thing that you're going to have to do is get on the downloads here. You want to get this package, the integration pack. So just download that and it should have everything work just fine. Let me add another object. Node, Cisco IOL. And let's see. So I'm going to edit this one. That's a layer 2 one. Perfect. And there I am starting up with the nodes. I'm going to go ahead, open it up, and kind of just see what's going on with it. Oh, look at that. It's just like if you had a regular router or a regular switch. So I'm going to say no. Would you like to terminate auto install? Yes. Oh man, I hit the wrong key. And look at that. There's a router right there. I'm going to be able to enable it. conft hostname router 1. And look at that. It changes. So all the regular commands that you can run with Cisco iOS, there it is. As I say, go into conft mode, everything. So now you have an actual, real, true-to-life router that's happening here. And I'm going to end this video here because after this I'm going to move on to other vendors that you might want to have and what you want to do to be able to add these images. I'm also going to do something kind of interesting to have you have somewhat of a what was like a real feeling environment with everything. So I'm going to pause it from here, get everything ready, and then I'm going to move on to making that happen too. Alright, so I'm going to bring this to a close, but in this section I just want to talk about why you would want to use something like PNETLab or even G. First of all, you don't even got to keep this here because that's a little bit annoying to see it. Do I want to delete the text? Yes, I do. Now I just have a blank background. And by the way, this looks exactly like EVNG. Only thing about it is that it's unofficial and it's kind of free. So I'm just going to go ahead and add an object because you're wondering why not just use CML. That's also free. But I'm going to go ahead and add an object, add a node. I'm going to go back to Cisco IOL. Number of nodes to add. When you get the free version of Cisco IOL, you only get to have 5 nodes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in 8 nodes. And save. And there we go. I now have 8 nodes running. I'm going to delete this one. Wait, let me make sure that I picked the right one. I didn't. So I'm going to move this over here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and delete these. And now I'm going to add an object. Nodes. Cisco IOL. And I'm going to choose the router. And from this, let me add 9. Now, my machine, you already know what it is. It's kind of under-resourced. But now I have all these routers. And I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, man. Not the HTML console. I don't want that. I clicked on the wrong thing, but that's all right. So I'm going to go ahead and start all the nodes. You see, there they go. And look at that. Right here in this very lab, I now have 10 running nodes. 10 running Cisco nodes. R1, you there? So I'm going to say always allow this so I don't got to go through this. Let's see what's going on with R1. No. Yes. So R1, you're up. You're doing your thing. How about R2? We already know that R2's going. R2, you there? Yep. What about R3? You there? R3's there. R8, you there? So look at that. We now have more nodes running than what CML was going to allow us. And this is kind of really good for labbing. And that's part of why I enjoy using this program. Now the other reason why, and I'm not going to go through too much of it, but the other reason why I really enjoy using this program is because of the multi-vendor support. So here we have one of the competitors of Cisco, which doesn't, I mean, you can put it in CML. There are ways to be able to put the multi-vendor there, but it's not as robust as what we're doing right now. Also like running on bare metal, because then you have access to more resources. So here we have Juniper switches. And then the other company that I want to go with, let me see. The other company is going to be, it was supposed to be Extreme, but, oh, there we go. Extreme Networks. So what I'm going to do now, let me just go ahead with Extreme first. I'm going to hit the download for one of these images. You just click on their page and they have this. As a matter of fact, if you look at the web address at the bottom, it's from Extreme Networks themselves. And they have this set up now. Now all I have to do is go over to the EVE-NG documentation, click on documentation. After that, I'm going to go over to the how to create images, because EVE-NG does a pretty good job at doing this. And if not, then you can always look up things on YouTube. But I'm going to go through all of this, and let's see. Extreme now. Extreme. Where are you? Extreme, here it is. Extreme Exhaust, right here. And it tells you exactly what it has and how exactly to do it. For example, step 1, you're going to download the provided images, which we just did. After that, you're going to run this command inside of there. As a matter of fact, we can just we can copy and paste that ourselves as long as we have the correct version. Now, the version that we have is going to be, I think this one, the 32.7, whatever that is. So, as a matter of fact, let me just make this real easy. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste, because they provide this documentation for us, and I like the fact that it did. I'm going to go ahead and paste it in. After that, I'm going to go to the site itself, and I have 32.721. So I'm just going to delete some of this. Instead of it just being 30, let's do 32.7.2.19. After that, of course, I'm going to go to that directory. So go ahead, CD into the directory that we just made, because it is there now. Let me go back to the documentation, and then I'm going to have to upload this, the file that I downloaded. I'm going to have to put it in through WinSCP and just drop it there. So I'm going to go back over to WinSCP. I'm going to go up a little bit, up a little bit, up a little bit, and let me see, where was it located? OPT Unit Labs. Ooh, that's a mean typo. Is it a typo? Okay, the typo is down here where they forgot to put the D, because I was like, whoa. Okay, so add-ons, QEMU, and look at that, there's my folder. I'm going to go over to my downloads folder now. So let me go up, that's my documents, and let me go to downloads, and let me see, changed. Man. Alright, here it is. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take what I just downloaded, move it over there, go back to this thing, and now that's there. Look at that. It says I have to rename it now, so I'm going to rename it. It's just MV, and then I press tab because, you know, it makes it easier. And I'm going to rename it to HDA QCal2. Enter. LS, there it is. After that, they want you to run this command, which is a command that you run after everything. Copy, paste, and there it is. Now it should turn green or something. Yep, there it is. So now if I go back to my lab and I have Exos, I have all these nodes running. I'm going to add a node now. Oh, let me refresh this so that it picks it up. Add an object, nodes, and there it is, extreme. And now I have an extreme switch. Turn that on, and look at that. With this small, underpowered, just a thin client that I'm running with this, I have 11 nodes that are now running. So I can do the same thing with Junos, because I'll go back to even G, and I'll go down to, it's supposed to say V Junos or something. Here we go, Juniper. Here we go, Juniper V Junos EX switch. Just go right here. It tells you exactly what to do. It tells you what to make with a directory. And after that, you can go over here to Juniper. Here's the switch that I want to download. Click there. I agree. Proceed. To download the image on your logos, click here. And there we go. Juniper is now downloading. That might take a while because Juniper images are kind of heavy, but you kind of get the point. So now on my PNETLab, I can have as many nodes running as I want. In addition to that, I can have multiple vendors be able to exist on it. So let me go into this one. So login, admin, no password, and then it's like, so I'm just gonna put no. And there I am. Sys name, and this is gonna be switch 01. And there we go. So look at that. We have an XO switch going. Now I have the Juniper switch already downloaded. So if I go back over to my EVNG documentation, it says to download the file and then do this, everything that we do here. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to copy this. Go over here. I'm going to paste it. And again, that's not, I don't know if that's a version that we have. So I have to go back over to the downloads. It says 24.4. Says R1.9, and then it's going to be 24.4 R1.9, and that's going to be the directory. I'm going to go up now, and instead of mkdir, I'm going to cd. There's nothing in there as of yet, but what does the instructions say after that? It's almost the same thing most of the time. I'm going to upload it from here into that folder. So I'm going to go over here, up a little bit, up. Let's see, what folder was it? Let me reload it. Oh, there we go. The VJunos one. And here's the switch I just downloaded. Move it over there. It might take a little time, but the point that I'm making is, like, at the end of this, you're going to have pretty much 3 vendors of stuff running in here. And anything that you need to do is going to be here as well. The one thing that they're not going to have here directly is how you run hypervisors. And the reason why I do this personally is because I've never worked somewhere where you directly install operating systems on the machine. You will always work with hypervisors. And if you need to have like a server running, it would be on top of a hypervisor like ESXi. I have a hard time saying that, but we have it there. What I'm going to do in the next section of this video is share with you how you can make it into a fully real feel by even having things like running a hypervisor on top of this. And that way you can use other tools, like whatever SSH tools that you have, whatever RDP tools that you have, and it's going to feel 100% like the real thing. Alright, so this is going to be the last part that I do with this, because everything else is right here for you in EVNG. Even though we're using PNETLab, I like EVNG because it's almost the same thing and all the way free. So first thing is that we're going to make it seem like a custom Linux image, because technically Proxmox is, you know, Linux. I'm going to go back and do this to change the directory. I'm going to paste in what we just had, but instead of Linux dash something else, I'm going to do Linux slash Proxmox and hit OK. After that, I'm going to change directories into that. And then we'll usually put the ISO file into that, because that's all it's going to end up being. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to proxmox.com. And let's see now where the download is. Look at that, version 8.4. That's pretty good. So I'm going to go to downloads. I think it's in downloads. And here's the installer. Download that. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. It says 3 minutes left. So while that's downloading, I'm going to tell you more about why I do it this way. Is because, well, when I go over here, I still have all these nodes that are running, and this allows me to get more of that real feel of stuff. Now, right now I have about 11 nodes running, and if I were to try to buy any of these, it will cost me, even on eBay, at the bare minimum, it will cost me about $50 per router. But here I have 10 Cisco routers that are running, and they are for free. So that's like a $500 savings right there. Not only that, but I can go ahead and change them up as much as I want. So if I want to like do this whole, say, 4 router thing and have them be able to talk to each other, I can go ahead and just connect them up. So it's going to be Ethernet, say, 3 to Ethernet 03. And then after that, let's do from here. Let's do Ethernet 02 to Ethernet 02. After that, let's connect these together. And this is going to be Ethernet 01 to Ethernet 01. And then I'm going to connect these together. Let's do Ethernet 00. Let's do 03 to 03. And I'm just doing this to show that it's very possible just to be able to have a very decent lab going. Not that I would actually do something like this at all, but so you can make as many connections as you really want between any of these. So now that my download is finished, I'm going to go back to WinSCP, and there's my download. I had just gone through something else, so let me refresh this. And there's the Linux Proxmox. I'm going to move my Proxmox ISO in here. While that's going, I'm going to go back to Linux images, and this is all you really have to do is change whatever is there into CD-ROM. So I'm going to keep watching this right now, playing around in the lab, and I'm going to show you one other cool thing. To be able to connect anything to the outside world, you can do these. You can add an object and click a network. Now what this does is that it connects it out to the rest of the world. The management one, Management Cloud 0, is like it's going to end up sharing the NIC of my device, of the host. So that's what I'm going to put there, because I'm going to need that in 1 second. And over here, it looks like it's all done. I'm going to come back over here into the Linux Proxmox. There it is. I'm going to move that and change it to cd-rom.iso. And there it is. After that, I do believe that I need to fix permissions. If not, I'm going to do it anyway. And, oh yeah, it says here too that you can go ahead and resize it. Oh yeah, because you do need you are going to need some sort of hard disk for this. So you're going to have to create a new hard disk inside of this folder and by running that command. So now all I have is the ISO for it. I'm going to go ahead and copy that command, put it over here. And instead of 30 gigs, let me turn that to 512 gigs. Okay. And it doesn't say that you run that fixed permission commands, but I'm gonna run it anyway. I don't know why. It's just that I always run it, so doesn't seem, I don't think it could hurt. Alright, and then from there I can go back into my lab, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add it. Well, first I have to reload it. I'm going to add an object, add a node, and there's a Linux one. It's going to be Linux Proxmox. And I only have 4 actual CPUs, but I'm going to put 8 there. And then for RAM, let me put 32,000 there. It's going to be a VNC thing. This all looks pretty good. And I think I can do CPU host. I think that's what I'm going to want. If not, then I'll just change it. But just like that, I'm going to connect it up to the network and give it a start. Let's see what happens. Is it going to run? Is it going to stay running? And let me go ahead and open it. And would you look at that? It's Proxmox. Proxmox running there. So I'm going to hit OK. And I know that you're not here for learning how to run Proxmox, but, you know, just bear with me. Alright, so it's on Proxmox. We go down. I'm going to hit I agree. And look at that. The hard drive space. 512 gigabytes in the hard drive space. Click next. United States. I'm going to say that I'm from New York, because I really am from New York, even though I don't live in New York right now. But, you know, New York all day, every day. I'm going to make a password. Super secret password, actually. Make it password. Or secret. Or something. The email address, make it any email address, any email at anywhere.us. Next, I'm going to give it a host name, so it's going to be hypervisor.labdane.com. And look at that, it's already got an IP address and everything. So I'm going to go ahead, install. And because that might take a while to be able to go through the whole installation, I'm going to cut off the video for now and start back up when it's all loaded up. Alright, so here we have it all set up where I have this hypervisor running. And this is the thing, yo. This is what makes this whole EVNG thing really cool, because now I have a hypervisor set up, and this is me inside the hypervisor itself. But I want to show you that I don't need to just manage it from going into EVNG. Like what I just did there to bring that up, I went over here, did Ultra VNC, it pops this up. But in reality, the way that we manage Proxmox is through a web UI. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the web UI with that address that they gave. So it's 10.50.126.147. And then it's going to be port 8006. And would you look at that? You can actually go through and work on it, the name of it being Hypervisor, and I'm working on it just like if it were a physical host. Now if I go to the hypervisor, show the summary, look at that, 8 CPUs. only 2% of it is being used, but look at that. It's saying it's reading 8 CPUs. It's reading the 32 gigs of RAM. It's reading 512 gigs of storage, and it's all running inside. It's all running in the web. I can actually close this right now, and I can open up this right here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to SSH://10.50.126.147. And I want you to check this out because I don't even need this anymore. And now I'm SSH into a box that's running there. And this is not the only thing that I can SSH into. I really don't even need to go through that. I can manage it as if it were real. So I can even do the ls CPU. And look at that. It's telling you exactly what it's running with. I can do, say, the free command, free-h. Look at everything that's there. I don't know if the nmty command is installed. Okay, yeah, that's not installed yet. But IP addresses, I can do that. I can do the DH client command to be able to get a new DHCP lease. Almost anything that I can do with a real thing, I can do right here within this environment. So that's really, I think that's really cool. But even better than that, let me go back to over here with the Linux images, because it says on the left sidebar within the lab, you have this, so you have to be able to make it permanent. I'm just going to go through that quickly. So the way that I do that is I'm going to have to commit this from inside of where it's at. Now, the good thing about this is that I don't have many nodes running, so or many labs running, so I can just go over to my Linux box, and it says it's node 12. And so let me go back to EVE-NG. It tells you exactly where to go into the PNETLab and the temp folder, so I'm just going to copy that part. And this is going to be just a little bit easier than the rest. Oh man, so it copied it wrong. Let me just go ahead and copy that. And then if I go to the temp folder, ls, see, it's only one, cd, that's all I can do. After that, I'm going to go to 12, HDA cow, and all the good stuff. Let me just make sure that I'm in the right place. As a matter of fact, let me just do it this way. With PNETLab, it looks like what I can do is just right click on it and do a node commit. And I'm going to go ahead and commit that. I might need to turn it off in order to do it, but that's perfectly fine. Let me just go ahead and turn that off. Because usually the way that I do it, I just go through this process where I would, yeah, that's really all it is. I would just go through this, find out whatever the lab number is, the lab UUID, and let me see where I can find out where the lab UUID is. It's on the left sidebar within the lab, click on lab details. So here, let me go to oh, here we go. So here, okay, so perfect. It's actually 113 that I need to go to. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm already in 1. I'm gonna CD into 13, and there it is. From there, I'm going to copy this command where I have to commit it to commit that drive. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to paste. Now, I'm going to show you why this is important. It's so that when I do more labs, when I have more nodes, I don't have to reinstall Proxmox each and every time. I can just put another hypervisor there. And that's pretty cool because that just makes it really fast to be able to spin up more hypervisors that already have the right image. So this is doing a commit on it right now, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just waiting for it to finish so that I can keep going and talking about it. For now, I can show you like how I can use this. So for example, on the hypervisor, I can go ahead and I can create a new VM. I can give it a name like Windows DC, the OS, do everything that's necessary for it. Of course, I'm going to need to upload into my drive, so local ISO images. Let's see now, if I come over here and I do Windows Server 2025 download and evaluation center, here it is. I think I can just go straight to the download page. Yep, there it is. And then I'm going to download it. Let me see if it's all done here. Okay, there it is. The image is committed. I'm going to let that download for now. And then, let's see. So there it is. The image is committed. This is actually really cool. I didn't know about this. I usually do the no commit thing, but this works perfectly fine to me. And let me just go ahead now. I'm going to go ahead with more Linux stuff. And I'm going to add another object. Well, let me refresh the page first. Pick up all the new stuff. And I'm going to add another object. And in those nodes, I'm going to go to Linux. And it's going to be Proxmox. And I'm going to have 6 hypervisors. Let me move some of these out of the way. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them just like in this order. And with that, I'm going to connect them all up. And of course, you can always have like more NICs, because which server, okay, so these only come with like the 2 CPUs or whatever. But you can of course have more NICs. Like you can go ahead and have like a quad NIC one. But I'm just going to keep it normal for now, just to show a little something. And I also like that I can change like the specs on it instead of like having to deal with too much with the hardware. Okay. And actually this looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is start all the nodes. And you can actually watch them as they start too. Like, there it is. It's starting another one. And just like that, I have 6 different hypervisors running. And you just saw me click on 2 of them. Anyway, the point that I'm making is that now I can have a bunch of hypervisors running. It looks like my download there is done. So I'm just going to go over to my hypervisor. And with the ISO images, I'm going to upload it. I'm going to select the file. It's going to be this one. Upload. Okay. Let me just show you something real quick, because it does have the same address. So I do have to change the IP addresses as I go through this, but that's okay. For now, I'm going to stop the rest of these nodes, and it's gonna be all right. But I just want you to see how cool this actually is, because I can have a whole lab right now of an entire infrastructure that is actually gonna work, and I can have like unlimited lab experiences. I can have as many devices as I want, and with all the devices that I have, I get to have almost an unlimited amount of practice, even though the hardware is running on something so light. Like, look at this right now. I have 6 hypervisors running, I have 10 routers, I have this one switch, and it's operating just fine. So that's the cool part about labbing like this, and why I say you really don't need much in order to do big lab type stuff. You can have big lab stuff, and that's perfectly fine, but to get started, I really think this is probably the best way that you can possibly go. So with that, I'm gonna have to give my conclusion video next and review all the things that we were able to accomplish with this. Before I end this, I just want to go through the last step of this, where I give each and every one of these their own IP address. So as you can see, starting out with, they all end with the 147. So this is Proxmox 15, this is Linux 17, this is Linux 16. So, and as I said, this is just a way for me to make sure that everything gets its own IP address. So let me go ahead and start with 15. I did it with the rest of them, but I'm gonna go ahead and log in, and if I go IPA, there it is. It's 147. So I'm gonna delete that IP address, and this is ephemeral, so this is not gonna survive a reboot, but that doesn't matter to me right now. So I'm gonna do IP address delete, and it's going to be 10.50.126.147 WAC 23 device VMBR 0, and there it is. So I have to do IPA now. There is no IP address for that one, so I'm going to do DH client VMBR 0, and if I do IPA, you look at that, it has a brand new IP address that I can go to. So that was Linux 15. Let's do Linux 17 now. So again, root. Again, the same routine. I know it's unfortunate having to do this, but that's just part of labbing, and it gets really good afterwards. So let me do, what was it again? It was IP address delete. Oh, let me find out what. So IPA, IP address delete 10.50 126 147 white 23, and then device VM BRO 3, and then DH client VM BRO IPA. There's a new address there. So let's see now. So that was 15, 17, and now for 16. I'm going to log in again. IPA, and then it's IPA delete 10.50.126.147 by 23 dev VMBRO, and then DH client VMBRO IPA, and let's see. Yeah, that's it. So now as I go through each of these, I'm going to close them all out for me just to be able to keep track of them a little bit better. So close, close, close. I already have this one open. Now let me go ahead and open up this one. And it says here that this one is 10.50 126 239. So let me go here. Let me do 10.50 126 239 8006. And look at that. It's a different one altogether. Now I'm going to go to this hypervisor, And certain things that I have to do because of how it's all set up is I might have to change the name of the hypervisor, which is cool, you know, not that big a deal. So see, with this one, the reason why is because they're all pretty much named the same. Now before, when I was trying to create a VM and being able to, let me see, local, the ISO, upload, select this. The reason why it was hard was because there were other things with the IP address. So now it's uploading there. Now what I have to do, oh wait, okay, it's on the wrong one, but that's okay with me too, because on this one is where we're supposed to do that. But all this just to say, like, it's gonna be alright. I can just go ahead and change the host names for each one of these. Let me just change the host name for this one, for Hypervisor. So I'm gonna change, oh, okay, it was, yeah, of course it's gonna be close. So let me do it again. SSH is gonna be 147, and that should be good to go. Let me see why that is. Oh, of course. So it's supposed to be this one. Okay, so it's not a big deal, but you kind of get the point of it. And the reason I'm going through all this is just to show like how cool it is that these can all work together, different nodes at different places, and how it all works. In my final video, let me talk a little bit about how you can set up a lab and how it can look really cool to be able to do all of this. Alright, in this last one, I'm going to just talk about how to lab and why I like doing things this way. This is not all the images that I would use. For example, I typically would like to use things like the FortiGate, the firewall. Either that, or if I'm trying to do like an open source lab, I would do the pfSense one, and you can put that all in here, and it all works. So first thing I did is like I added a network for that. After that, I'm gonna need to have some sort of a gateway. Right now, I haven't loaded that many nodes into this one. But I'm just going to go to Cisco IOL. I'm going to choose the router. And with this one, I am going to put, let me put 4 Ethernets. And that's 4 groups of 4. So that's what ends up happening. Oh, that's 4 nodes. My bad. Let me see. Nope, that seems about right. Okay, so for some reason to put 2 routers there, and that's alright. So with this now, I'm going to take this, I'm going to connect that over to my network, and there it is. The last one, all the way, is going to be my uplink into there. From there, let me just go ahead and delete this one. And that's a Cisco product, so that's one thing. I'm going to make some more nodes, and then I'm going to choose some switches now. I'm going to use the extreme switch, and with the Ethernet, I am going to put, let me put 12 each. And for this, I am going to give it 5. As a matter of fact, let me make this one 3. So then I have 1, 2, 3. With that, I'm going to connect the uplink out, so that's going to be port 11. And yeah, let's do Ethernet 00. Again, port 11, Ethernet 01. Ethernet 02. And honestly, typically I would have like VRRP between these two, so I would have a link for that, but I'm not doing that right now just because I want to show a little bit about what can be done as far as building out the topologies with this. Other things like I want there to be some sort of connection between these. But from here, let's go ahead and add some Cisco switches now. So more nodes. I'm going to use Cisco IOL, and for this one layer 2, and for this I'm going to have 4, and let's see, oops, let me delete that because I didn't put enough nodes, and I also chose the wrong picture for it. So nodes, Cisco IOL, layer 2, number of nodes to add 9, and then with that the number of Ethernet I'm going to do 4, and then the picture I am going to use a switch. So let's see, where are my switches? There, we just gotta keep moving through, I guess. So switch, and I'm just going to use that one. And then with that, let me just go ahead and set my switches up. And then from there, I can start making my connections. So this, of course, needs to be connected to somewhere. And then this this needs to be connected to this switch as well. So on this router is going to be that. And then connect it over here. And just pretty much do that with all of these as well. I think you kind of know where this is going. So I'm pretty much putting together like a little spine and leaf topology for all of this. And in the end, all of these can go ahead and do the same, where I have a decent amount of interconnectivity between them. After that, if I was to have it per this, say I have 3 servers each, so it'll be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. So now I would put in the hypervisors. But let me just say, like, over here is my data center, so I'm just going to do 9 for the time being. No, let me do 18. So I'm going to go to this, Linux Proxmox, 18. Each one of these are going to be 8 cores. Each one of them are going to have 32 gigs of RAM, even though that's not exactly how much it would be. And each one of these is going to have 4 Ethernets. And what I can do now, let me see. You just look at how much is going on here. This can be something pretty significant. So between those two, between these two, and just like that, I can connect it there, and then there. Again, there, and there, and there, and there. And now, not to be too careful, I just hope you kind of see like how the topology is really starting to kind of set in. I'm just going to do this quickly because this is not exactly how I would really do it. I'm just trying to show how wonderful a tool like this is to be able to build out large topologies and a lot of cool things that you will be able to do. Okay, I thought I'd hook these up. Maybe I'll come into some of the limitations, which would be really cool to do. I kind of like going to the limitations of stuff. And it kind of looks cool too. That's what I like about this. Alright, well that's enough for now, I guess, because I really just want to show how this can work. I don't know, I'm actually having fun, like just dragging and connecting these things together. Alright, this is going to be my last one, and then for the rest of them, I'm just going to kind of delete them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to keep them there just to see if they all turn on. The only ones that I don't think are going to turn on are going to be the layer 2 switches, and that's just because I need to work with the CML license and get that all situated. But there's documentation in EVNG for that as well. Alright, so look at that. Got a whole like little data center going. In this I have 2, 4, 6, 8 two layers 2 switches. I have 3 layer 3 switches. Got a router going out. I might as well, if I was doing this for real, I'd have more than one router though to be able to do this, and probably diagram it a little bit differently. But I kind of have a little spine and leaf topology set up. I have a little bit of redundancy going on. It can be a pretty significant lab. And then from there, I'm going to do the setup, start all nodes, and just watch whatever happens and let it happen. And again, this is on a thin client. This is on a Dell Wise 5070. This is not on like a big type of hardware or a major server. This is on $100 worth of equipment. All I did was buy the thin client, put some extra RAM, put a hard drive in it, and now I'm watching it go. And it looks like it's kind of taken off. As I said, I do expect those layer 2 switches to not fully stay on because of licensing issues. But besides that, notice like how it's working out just fine with everything powering on. And here I am being able to lab just fine. I'm going to be able to build this out, and I will be able to get real experience with all of this. Now, with this being said, this means like I will be able to have real, what feels like real, tangible experience that I can put on my resume. And hopefully I'll be able to put together a couple of videos about how I do that and how I show that it can work. I'm just looking for the Linux servers to spin up. These are all the hypervisors that are going right now. I want you to see like they're all spinning up, and this is all on cheap hardware. Got all these servers running inside of this little cheap Wise thin client, and it's actually pretty good. So you really don't need like hyper powerful stuff. You don't need too much in order to do this. This will give you all the practice you can ever need. And I'm repeating myself quite a bit right now, which is a little bit uncomfortable. So I'm going to call it quits because I think you get the point.